Hey, what's up everyone? Today's video is gonna talk about RIVEN'S items. I know there are still people confused about what to buy on her, so don't worry, I'm gonna help you out. First of all, know that the build depends a lot on the player. She has a few set of builds she can go for, but some builds just won't fit the player's playstyle, which will result in a bad performance. Some builds also require more experience on the champion. There is the few sets I'm gonna talk about in this video. The first one is the most classic one that I would recommend to anyone who doesn't have much experience on Riven. First of all, you have the survival build. This build makes you a lot tankier than already builds, but it takes a bit longer to scale. The core items being Death Dance and Black Cleaver. This is probably the most used build on Riven. The second build is what I like to call the Adrian Special. It revolves around Essence River and Spear of Shojin. It is built out of raw AD and basically helps you to burst down people, but you're not very tanky with it. The third build is the Cosplayed one. This build is almost like the survival one, but revolves around Black Cleaver and Cosplayed instead of Death Dance. The fourth one, I'm not gonna talk about it. It's the Lethality one. It is very rarely built and is, in my opinion, not worth to talk about, especially since the items are basically classic. I'm gonna keep it simple and only talk about the most classic three. Let's get started and talk about the first build, the survival one. This build revolves around two core items, Black Cleaver and Death Dance. You can start with any of them, it mostly depends on the matchup. Against tankier champions that build armor, you may wanna go Black Cleaver first, or even against champions you want to stick to. But before going Black Cleaver, you need to get a Corefield Warhammer first, followed by a Kindle Gem for the CDR, then finish your Black Cleaver. Here are a few matchups in which I would go Black Cleaver first instead of Death Dance. Darius. Because he might get tanky items first, such as Chain Vest and Ninja Tabais, and the HPs help you for his ultimate, and the move speed given by the Black Cleaver might also help you to dodge his E or chase him when you are slowed by his W. Kled. The move speed helps a lot against him, and so do the HPs. Now to mention he can now reduce your Death Dance healing with his Q. He's also most likely gonna build tanky items after his first one. It's also a difficult matchup in which the tankiness can only help. If you build Death Dance first, you want to get Corefield Warhammer first, followed by Kindle Gem, just like if you were going for Black Cleaver, but instead you will complete Death Dance as first item. This item will give you raw AD and some sustain in lane. There are the matchups in which I will build it first instead of Black Cleaver. Jace. He's a poke ranged champion that's gonna try to poke you out of the lane, but he doesn't have any sustain. This way, you will be able to sustain up the poke by just farming and maybe get a kill on him later. Yasuo. He doesn't have sustain in his kit. This will make you out-sustain him in lane and in trades. It's a very easy matchup and Death Dance only makes it easier. As for the following items, they will depend on a lot of things. Guardian Angel. It helps a lot to engage fights or dive their backline in teamfights. One of the best items Riven can get in mid-late game. QSS or Mercurial. You may need this if there is a hard CC able to shut you down in teamfight. Duskblade of Draktar. I do not recommend to build it often, but in some games this might be a decent mid-game item. If they have a few squishes that you would like to one-shot, and it also gives you map control as you can clear the wards and know if you are seen or not. It's perfect for traps and ambushes. Last Whisper. Last Whisper is always a reliable item. If they are stacking armor, it makes it only better. It also works against squishy targets, but for them it is better to combine it with a lethality item such as Cosplayed. Tiamat. This item is rarely built, but it's a good one if you want to split push even faster, and it also can be completed into Ravenous Hydra later in the game for even more sustain. Sterak's Gauge. If you are struggling in teamfights or if your team lacks a front lane, Sterak's allows you to survive longer in teamfights and avoid dying to burst. GA synergizes well with it. Maw of Malmortius. If they have a few AP threats that kill you fast in fights or that you need to 1v1, like a mage or something when you are split pushing, Hexdrinker / Maw will help you a lot. But you have to either take it or Sterak's, as their passive is unique. Do not build both of them. Ghostblade. Ghostblade is a good item as it gives you move speed for faster rotations or to chase some fast champions. It also gives you lethality to take down squishes easier. Let's now talk about the second build, the Adrian Special. This build revolves around two core items, Essence River and Spear of Shojin. The downside of this build is that at some point you will have to go back for a BF Sword, so you need to be able to back with at least 1k free gold at some point. Just like the previous one, you want to start with Corefield Warhammer followed by Kindle Gem. Then you either want to complete Shojin or River first. Once again, it depends on the matchup. If it is a matchup in which you can take down someone in a single rotation of spells, Essence River is the way to go. If you are up against a tankier champion or someone against who you need to take extended trades, then Shojin is a better first item in this case. Against Fiora, I will go Essence River first as she is very squishy and a single crit on her will make you win any trade, as long as you don't get baited by her parry. Against Tryndamere, you would rather go Spear of Shojin first as the passive will help you to win time when he uses ult. Auto-attacking him in the ultimate is gonna reduce the cooldown of your dashes and stun, allowing you to kite him better. If you can afford to go Essence River first without getting Kindle Gem because you have enough gold, then you should do it. After those two items, there are many different situational items you can go for. They are kinda similar to the previous ones, but add Death Dance to it. Actually, Death Dance is probably the item you want to go for as third item most of the time. You may even build it second item sometimes if you feel like you need the sustain or tankiness it gives. Let's now talk about the third build, the Cosplayed one. This build is kinda similar to the survival build, but instead of Death Dance, you want to get Cosplayed as first or second item. The goal of this build is to give you more damage to squishier targets, and more mobility for roams and early map pressure, as well as more snowball potential. The downside of going Cosplayed first in this build is the fact that it will take longer for you to get CDR, and you may be stuck at 10% for a long time. You can eventually go Black Cleaver first if needed, and the situational items are once again the same than seen previously. Those are the most classic builds I recommend. There are way different builds you can make up, but I thought it was better to only cover the most classic stuff. I hope this helped you, and yeah, the next guy will be about rune setup. Do not hesitate to follow me on Twitter or Twitch, and thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.